Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
It is time to learn about real estate, or maybe a prettier way of saying that, time to learn about buying and selling houses or homes. It's a better word, right? It's time for Berkshire Hathaway Hometeam Realty with Bob Kennedy. This is a great opportunity for you to have that question that you have about buying or selling a home answered. And so Bob is here to answer those questions. We'll give you his number, his Facebook page, other information for contacting Bob. But right now, the phone number is here, 622-9622. That's 352-622-9622. Bob Kennedy. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's good to see you. You know, when I was a kid, I wanted to ask you something. I used to see a bumper sticker that said, get a lot when you're young. Do people still do that? They buy land and then they save up and then they get a house?
Well, historically, investing in vacant residential lots is probably one of the worst investments that you could make. If you're dealing in vacant property, you probably should be a real estate investor, somebody that understands that process. To go out and just purchase a vacant lot and hope to build in it someday, there's thousands of them vacant in Marion Oaks and the Shores and Rainbow Springs. It's a sales promotion more than an investment.
Really?
Yeah.
But even if the idea is to eventually build a house on it, so you can't use the land as collateral.
It's in my opinion, it's just not good.
Not a good idea. So
just not good. If you buy a house, have it built when you're ready to do it. You know, we get calls all the time. My grandfather had this lot. He bought in 1976, and we've been paying taxes.
Yeah.
You know, why didn't we sell it when they were $40,000? Now they're back down to $5,000. There's a lot better things you could do with your money.
Oh wow!
Are all of the city side hookups there when you purchase the lot, like water and sewer and electric connections?
If you go into communities like say a Marion Oaks or Silver Spring Shores, they put all the utilities in. That's what kind of makes it appealing, because they say, "Oh, it's ready to build," but you know, it's really not what the average person would want to invest in.
Oh, okay.
Now, last week you had somebody who called that seemed to have gone through some hard times, and they had a house that was foreclosed on, and they were wanting to get back into a house. I can't remember how many years had passed.
Yeah.
Do you see a lot of that? I mean, do we have a lot of people coming in the aftermath of those bad days?
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of one of the really great things we're seeing in the marketplace is, you know, a lot of people that got hurt didn't do anything wrong. It was just the economy and the marketplace that knocked them down.
Right.
But within, for instance, on a short sale, within 2 years, given everything else being good with your credit and everything, you shouldn't have a problem buying a house. You'll meet all the federal guidelines for lenders.
Right.
Yeah, so it's really a good sign.
And what is the guideline as far as how much you should, how much of your budget, your monthly budget, you should? Some people say that 1 week's pay should be what your mortgage is. Have you heard that?
Oh, of course. I think the basic guidelines is between 28 and 31% of your income.
Okay.
And when you go for a mortgage, they'll determine those guidelines for you when they look at your debt to equity ratios. You know, you may have great income and good credit, but you might have 6 car payments that are going on, and
really?
It's going to knock you out. Same thing, you have people making good money, but maybe they had a couple credit dings that's going to affect them. But you want to keep it. They're not in today's lending environment. They're not going to let you get in over leveraged,
which is good because that's good for you. It protects you.
it was too crazy. It was too easy to get money. Then it got too hard to get money, and little by little, we're getting back to a normal market.
So who's the ideal client for you? Is the person who walks into your office and has an envelope full of paperwork, and you look at the paperwork and you smile because why? What is it that they're showing you?
Probably a suitcase full of cash.
That was a good answer.
The untraceable. So the person that comes in has done their homework and they've gotten approved. They understand what they can afford. If someone comes in and is not there yet, we'll sit down and we'll match them up with a lender because in today's world with the technologies available, you want to know exactly. It's easy to know what you can buy,
right.
where you can live, what kind of house you can afford, what you can expect at those price points.
When you look for a person to work with and they're interested in purchasing a home and some land, do you prefer the person that's going to be there forever, or do you also help out people that want to buy property as investing and use it as rental property?
We do both. And, you know, I tell people, if you're an investor, you know, you understand the ground rules of it's a business. Mm-hmm. So you understand the pros and cons of what you're doing. Someone that's coming in to buy a home, that's what most of the business is we're helping people either buy their first home, things are going good, they want to have that move up home. Of course, being in Ocala and Marion County, we have a tremendous amount of people that are retiring and they want to know, you know, what's the proper community, what's the best situation for them.
The Facebook page, by the way, that Bob was telling us about before we went on the air for Berkshire Hathaway is BHHS, which stands for Berkshire Hathaway Hometeam, and then the words Hometeam Realty. So BHHS Hometeam Realty, you'll find it right away. It looks like a relatively new site.
Yeah, we just transitioned it over from Prudential, and there's a lot of blogs on there, a lot of great information about all different. Some of the things we've been discussing here about financing and you know, properties, school districts, all that stuff is available.
Is there a problem with somebody who has a house who wants to buy another house? And that interim period between the time they move and sell, you know, they buy and, do you know what I mean? It seems like there's sometimes a problem. Robin's son is going through this right now in New Jersey.
He's trying to buy a house while his house is waiting. While he's waiting to sell his house.
Well, in his case, it's a rental.
Renting, yeah.
So somebody else has already rented it out, and they haven't moved out yet. So
well, that's.
But I've heard this with people who buy houses.
Well, when you buy a house, a lot of times it's subject to the sale of another home. And you just have to kind of coordinate everything. The title companies do a great job in helping that out because they have to handle the closing documents. There could be a title company, two different title companies involved. One, a lot of times, will be out of state, but they'll make sure the monies get transferred and everything else. It's not easy, but you get it done. And everybody's used to doing it.
Do we shop around for title companies, or is that something that they're all the same?
I always tell people, if you feel better shopping around, shop around.
How do you know what to look for?
Well, that's usually why they talk to their real estate agents
Go to you.
about who to use. And we're lucky in Marion County. We have some great companies, and they will jump through hoops to get a deal done.
Do you take care of all the inspections also?
We will recommend people to do the inspections. We have a list of home inspection people. Some people have their own. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we recommend them, but we always recommend a home inspection.
Oh, okay.
It's the cheapest insurance
Such
you're
a
going to get.
great idea, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's two types of inspections, right? The person you hire, and isn't there a government inspector, too?
It's not really a government inspector. A lot of people say, "Well, I'm buying the house FHA or I'm buying the house VA, and I'm going to have a VA inspector."
Oh, okay.
But really, what it is when the appraiser comes out, he's certified by the VA, and they have certain guidelines in their lending that will come in will be a little bit different.
Okay. Bob Kennedy is here. Your questions are invited. So call 622-9622. Bob is with Berkshire Hathaway Hometeam Realty, and we'll be right back after the weather.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accidents. There'll be morning cloud and a shower, then some sun, windy and much cooler today than yesterday with highs to 50s to near 60. Partly cloudy and colder tonight. A freeze in some inland spots. The overnight lows in the upper 20s and low 30s inland, mid 40s on the coast. Partly sunny, cool tomorrow, highs in the upper 50s to the upper 60s. Then on Thursday, partly sunny with highs in the 60s to lower 70s. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
It's a great week at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, where they're getting ready for Christmas right now. Your favorite, those famous Bob Wine's Christmas cactus, are now arriving. They're budded and blooming and wrapped in beautiful foil, just $3.99. Bob's got a super buy on boxwood, just $2.99. And of course, Bob Wine's famous camellias. You can buy these for only $5 or $10. And hey, you get a free tomato plant or a pepper plant with any purchase. Like a tree, Bob has large trees up to 8 feet, still only $49.99. And veterans, this week, you get an extra 10% off as our thanks for your service. Bob Wine's gift certificates, perfect for giving. They earn you up to $75 in gifts for yourself, free. Open daily till 4, Saturdays till 2. Bob Wine's is truly having a great week. Bob Wine's on Southeast 38th Street, Ocala. Proudly locally grown, family owned since 1952.
Who would you feed if you had 50 chicken sandwiches from Chick-fil-A? WOCA and Chick-fil-A in the Paddock Mall have teamed up to reward one organization with 50 chicken sandwiches as a way of saying thanks for the great work that organization is doing in our community. And we need your help. See, there are so many great people doing great things that we need nominations. You can nominate your own organization or any organization you choose. Simply send an email to WOCA@WOCA.com. And in 350 words or less, tell us why the organization you are nominating should receive 50 free chicken sandwiches from WOCA and Chick-fil-A at the Paddock Mall. We'll review your nominations and then select one deserving organization each month. We'll announce the winner and even read the winning entry on the air. Make sure to include the contact name and phone number of the organization that you are nominating. And thanks from your friends at WOCA and Chick-fil-A in the Paddock Mall.
All right, 17 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Bob Kennedy is here. Your questions, your comments are invited. The phone number is 622-9622. Berkshire Hathaway Hometeam Realty is what we're calling the show, and that's also happens to be the name of the real estate office that Bob represents. And this is brand new company for you, right? Just started a couple weeks ago.
A couple weeks ago, we transitioned from Prudential, which has been in the market for many, many years. Berkshire Hathaway purchased Prudential Real Estate, and we were lucky enough to be able to use the Berkshire Hathaway brand. Warren Buffett said that it was a go.
Told you to go ahead.
Wow.
And it's like,
He gave it his blessing.
Exactly. Wow. That's been the response. It's been great.
Yeah, and we had a couple of guests, like national radio tour guests, and they were talking about the same thing. So obviously it struck a chord with the analysts who look at these things, and they were happy with this decision.
It's been great. I mean, we in 1 year, the brand has 1,100 offices and over 30,000 agents.
Wow.
1 year.
So am I old-fashioned in thinking that the best way to get a house is to just sit with you? Or do the newer home buyers use the internet a lot?
Almost. The answer to your question is really both, because knowledge is power, and today, through the technologies, there's a lot more information available. 30 years ago, you would walk into a real estate office and you would sit down with a real estate agent, and they would ask you a few questions, and basically they would tell you how much house you could afford and what houses you were going to go see. But that's not the way it works today. According to the National Association of Realtors, over 90% of people start their search online now.
Oh my God.
Oh, really?
So
going back to what I asked you earlier, was I show up, I've got all the paperwork, you're going to smile because I got the paperwork, and I also tell you By the way, here's the house I'm looking at. Does that throw a curve? Because
No, actually, that's great, because what usually happens in the scenario you're talking about is we've been emailing back and forth. Most people come into town, they've already picked out someone to work with, and they've done it because they've done online searching. So when somebody comes into town, again, go back to the old days. It used to be you drive down the street, find a local real estate office, and go in and talk about real estate.
Right.
Well, now when people are coming to town, a lot of times they already have houses picked out that they want to see, in areas that they want to see, because they've done their due diligence online. They've emailed back and forth with the agent. They talk about certain things that they want. Do they want a fireplace? Do they want a swimming pool?
Yeah.
A family room? Things of that nature. So the consumer is much better prepared to make a purchase today.
And do you provide photos online with all of the houses that you represent?
Yes, photos are, you literally can't advertise without them. And honestly, photos are almost becoming secondary to video.
So they're inside and out then of the house.
Oh,
not
yes.
just
So
the front
video's
of it.
really up there.
Video is where it's all going.
Oh my God.
Well, and this is the time of year we think about the homey things. I mean, what better way to envision the house? What's this going to look like when you walk into a vacant house, a new house, or an unfurnished house? Maybe is what I want to say. And you say, well, imagine this with the furniture, with the photos on the wall, with the kids here having Thanksgiving, right? You picture a home, you don't picture a house anymore, right?
Absolutely, and that's a lot of that is, if you go into a model home, you'll see the staging is all set to bring those
To kind of help out.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. And a lot of vacant homes will recommend, hey, put a little something in here, as a staging to kind of give people some ideas. 'Cause
Right.
sometimes a blank canvas isn't the easiest to work with.
Are people looking more to move into well-established communities as opposed to buying a house on 5 or 10 acres?
Well, I mean, you're
why I
going to
want
have higher
5 or 10.
populations in the city, so people want to come in. But there's a lot of people that they'll come in and say, we don't really want to be next door. We don't want a neighbor on top of us. We want some land. We might have, horses or whatever it might be. And some people, they want land.
Sure.
Sometimes the people that lived in the city for their whole, they're ready to spread
That's
out
right.
a little
That's
bit.
exactly right. Yeah, I think that's true. So let me ask you this. When I go, for example, to get a loan or I get my insurance renewed, I have a quarter inch of paperwork. I trust the person, the agent I'm working with at whatever agency it is, to the point where, tell me where to sign, I'm going to sign it. I know I'm supposed to read it, but you know what? There's a lot of reading there, and it's a lot of legalese, and I trust you, so I'm going to sign what you say. So I trust you, Bob. Let's say I drive down the road, and I'm looking for a house, and there's a house, but it's not your name on the sign. Can I still come to you and you can help me get that house?
Sure. All the agents co-broke. So if
Oh, really?
And really, if you're buying a house, and it really makes sense to have buyer representation, they're going to be able to walk you through the process and help you through some of the pitfalls. So yeah, I mean, any agent can work with any other agent.
I don't know if I shared with you when we sold my mom's house. I mean, just in a nutshell, it was a realtor, real estate agent, and I don't really know the difference, but she was a lady over in Beverly Hills. I mean, if it wasn't for her, I don't think we would have sold it. We didn't know what to do,
That's a professional in action, right?
Yeah. So what is the definition of realtor versus real estate agent?
Realtor is the designation that you're a member of the National Association of Realtors.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Other than that, and most of us are, we pay our dues, and it gives us access to all the things. But you don't have to be. A real estate agent is someone that's licensed by the state to sell real estate.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, what if someone was working with you, they bought their home, and then maybe 5 or 6 years later, their job transferred them to another state? Can they come to you, ask them to help sell their home, and then ask you to help find something where they're moving to because they trust you? So would you be able to close the deal in another state?
Well, what I would do in that case is we have a tremendous referral network through the Berkshire Hathaway system. So we'll refer them to an experienced agent wherever they're moving, and we do this all the time. We have referrals coming in, we have referrals going out. So if the person's satisfied with the job we did when they're moving, they're going to call us to help them sell their house, and they're going to trust our recommendations on where they're moving.
Yeah.
So the first thing on your Facebook page is it says this: one thing home buyers look for is a strong mobile phone reception. Do you get good service in your home? Wow, I wouldn't have even thought of asking that question.
If you go out in the county, there's some areas that don't really have the connection, or they don't have the internet speeds that people want, and that can become an issue.
Yeah, because few people have the little, what do you call it, hard line?
Yeah.
What do you call the phone?
Landline.
The landline. Yeah.
So it becomes a big issue, you know.
Wow. See, I wouldn't have. Can you imagine that, buying a house and I'm sorry, you have to get a landline because your cell phone won't work out here?
Well, you talk about Beverly Hills. We just sold a house there, and the buyer was a doctor, and she came in, and one of her first questions was, I'm only getting 2 bars here. What's the story with the cell reception? Do I need to get a boost she goes, because I'm on call and they have to be able to reach me. And
yeah, really?
We researched that out, and she was satisfied. And
oh, really? You could do something to boost it?
Oh, yeah. I get the companies can, you know.
Oh, wow.
Not us humble real estate.
But you made a phone call or something.
Yes.
And, wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, now you're going to get calls. How'd you do that? I want to do that.
I'll be in the cell phone business.
When people are looking for houses, say it's a young couple, they're like 20 years old, they just got married, they're buying their first house, and they want their folks to come along to help look. Do you kind of discourage that, to just have the 2 people look around first before they have their folks?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, it's a big step. It's an emotional step. And if they can have somebody along with them to help them, that's great.
Oh, okay.
Hey, you have anybody buying a house as a gift for somebody? Do you have anybody like that?
Like as a surprise?
Yeah, like I could buy your house.
No, I would try to dissuade them from doing that.
Oh, really?
That can lead to a lot of questions.
Oh my gosh.
They had a great article in the Wall Street Journal last week about spouses that buy houses and don't tell the other spouse and spring it on them as a surprise.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh.
I can imagine
Mixed results.
That would be trouble.
Mixed results.
Yeah.
How about the person that wants to own more than one in different locations, like the snowbirds, for example? How do you make them comfortable with their with what they're familiar with?
Well, they'll come down, and we'll spend time in different communities until they find the one that they feel most comfortable with. Explain to them, you know, what's going to be entailed, what their HOA is, and what they can expect when the house is vacant. Who's going to help them take care of it, and we work with all that. And
oh, nice.
Yeah, so they feel comfortable coming, you know, because they're only going to come down for part of the year.
So I want to be a snowbird.
Well, I tell you, I am really happy we're in Ocala today and not in most of the country.
But tonight, 28 degrees, they say.
That's
But
cold.
short-lived, just till tomorrow.
That's cold.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I I always wanted to live in Florida long enough to think 50 degrees was cold. And,
And you hear it?
and I'm there now. I'll be bundled up tonight.
Yeah, right. You know, the when you listed the things that people want, you said a fireplace, a swimming pool, those seem pretty normal. Do you have anything that's out of left field and you don't hear about it often? Not too many basements around here, right?
No, you don't have basements, but like we had one guy, he was an artist and he wanted a studio. And so
really?
he had seen there's some flying communities here that have hangars for your airplanes.
Right.
And so he wanted to move into there. Well, there's deed restrictions, and one of the restrictions is you got to be a pilot. You have to have a pilot's license. And he just could not get past the fact that he couldn't move into there and use a hangar for his studio.
Oh my god.
That was not a bad idea, though, on his part.
Not a bad idea.
I think any room could be a studio, couldn't it?
Well, he was persistent.
Big enough. Always fun, Bob. You bring us a great show when you do this. Okay, so let's tell the listeners how to find you. Give us your phone number.
622-9700.
And the Facebook page is where we want to send you. Go to BHHS Home Team Realty on Facebook, and you'll see all of that from Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty with Bob Kennedy. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
An attack on a synagogue in Jerusalem.
8 others were also wounded in that attack. One of them is in a critical condition. The 2 attackers, who were cousins from East Jerusalem, were killed on the scene in a police shootout.
Fox Radio's Emily Wither in Jerusalem. Minnesota Vikings running back Adrian Peterson suspended without pay for at least the rest of the season. He pled no contest to misdemeanor reckless assault for injuries to his 4-year-old son. And a morning commute nightmare for some people in western New York, where more than 100 miles of the state thruways closed in both directions.
This is a part of a bigger story. We have an Arctic blast currently taking place across the country, where about 200 million Americans are waking up to temperatures that are below freezing this morning. We could be looking at record low temperatures being set out there.
Fox meteorologist Maria Molina. Fox News. We report, you decide.
Looking for a Medicare Part D plan? Join Express Scripts Medicare.